Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Unboxing Life. Today it's not really an unboxing, but I'm going to talk about this ultimate hyper sports bike. It's been 2 years, 14,000 kilometers. Does this really live up to the mark of legend? So let's find out. We will talk about performance, maintenance, service cost, and everything in between. My riding experience on highways, in city, commute rides, long tours. So let's see. So without wasting any further time, let's get into the review. I'll be covering this review in few parts. Part first is the overall build quality. So the overall build quality is excellent. I have been using this bike for 2 years, multiple seasons, including rains, harsh summers. I have done a lot of touring rides, been driven into city, highways and all. And the bike has really lived up to the expectations of having a top-notch build quality. I haven't seen any issues in the paint. It's a black color. The paint has remained extremely good. There is no corrosion or no rusty spots such as under the belly, the disc of the brake. All have remained really good. The switchgear quality is also very good. Overall, the fit and finish of the bike, it is made really good and no complaints on that. So 5 on 5 star on the build quality aspect of it. Now after the build quality, the next important aspect would be the performance of the bike. And I'm not going to get into the numeric details of it, how much is the horsepower and Newton meters of torques and all that stuff. Those are easily available on the internet. I'll be talking more practical things about it. So from a performance standpoint, the handling is very good. Although the bike is very heavy, about 260 kg plus weight of the fuel, so it's quite heavy bike, but bike handles very well. In spite of such a heavy weight, there is no lack in terms of performance at all. The inline 4-cylinder engines works like a charm. Overtaking in tight situations is very easy. I have never felt any situation wherein I could find overtaking easy. You can go on high speed rides, there is no problem. The braking is excellent. Suzuki has given lots of electronics into this Gen 3 bike, which were not there in Gen 1 and Gen 2. So now it has got more safety features. So from that perspective, the bike really works very well, and performance again is 5 on 5 in terms of the range. Coming to the mileage part, the fuel tank is of 20 liters, and on a highway, if I ride between 130 to 150 kilometers per hour, it easily retains 20 to 22 kilometers per liter of fuel, which in my view is just exceptional. If I ride more harsh, then it may come down to let's say 18, 19, depending on the conditions. But otherwise, from a range angle, it's always 19 to 22 kilometers per liter. In city, whenever I've been to service centers, it has given me about 10 kilometers per liter in a bumper to bumper traffic, but which is understandable because the bike is not at all made for city usage. Next point for any superbike user is how much is the maintenance cost, and this is I think very important point whenever you are considering buying any big bike. As far as Japanese bikes are concerned, they are usually very low on maintenance, as most of you might be aware, and Suzuki Hayabusa is no exception for that. Being a Japanese machine, firstly, the visits to the service center are only for regular maintenance. You will hardly find a need to go to service center for any problem. The maintenance is 6,000 kilometers every 6 months, whichever is earlier. And for every 6,000 kilometers, I pay anywhere between 7,000 to 7,500 rupees. This includes oil, which is synthetic oil, 3 liters, engine oil filter, then chain cleaning, chain lubing, both front and rear brake removal, brake cleaning, complete bike wash. They have a computerized system to check the health of the bike. So using that system and wash of the bike and torquing of your nuts and bolts. So that is one service which happens every 6 months, and twice in a year you will need to service it. Now if you compare that to some of the other bikes, which are say European bikes such as Triumph or Ducatis and all, then yearly service cost would probably be same, because this will also cost you per year anywhere between 14 to 15,000, and even those bike will cost you the same. So I don't see there is any issue in terms of the service. But one thing I really want to emphasize over here, that the reliability of this bike is just supreme. Nothing has gone wrong in last 2 years or 14,700 kilometers, and I mean, fingers crossed, it should continue to work like that. You just maintain it regularly and it works like a charm. Keeping on the maintenance cost, there are two more points which are important to know, which are typical consumables. So brake pads and tires are the two things which require some changes basis the usage. Uh, as far as brake pads are concerned, I haven't changed it yet. In spite of being 15,000 kilometers, there is still some life left, both front and back. But that's a factor of how do you ride. If somebody is having a habit of not using engine braking enough or using very harsh brakes, then brake pads may wear off very quickly. I use engine braking quite consistently, so my brake pads have served me well. As far as tires are concerned, tires is one expense which is little costly, because the pair costs you about, I put Michelin Road 6 and they cost about 35k. And I had to change it at about 12,000 kilometers mark. The stock tires were Bridgestone Battle Axe, and they served me well, but then they started squaring off, so I had to change, and then I ended up changing the pair itself. But I'm told that although Road 6 costs more, but the life of the tire is also higher. So I'm expecting to get anywhere between 18,000 to 20,000 kilometers out of this new set. But we will see to it that how much they perform. So far, in about 2,500 kilometers, I do not see any sign of wear and tear on tire, and they are working quite well. But apart from these two things, which is brake pads and the tires, nothing else has been changed. Chain and chain sprocket possibly might be the next spend which I might need to do, but nothing as this at this point in time. The Suzuki technicians have said that that's also working quite good, and there is no need to change it at this point in time. Now, my purpose of riding this bike, or my primary usage, is both weekend highway rides and also for a touring. I've been on a long distance touring on the bike, uh, covering around 1,000 2,000 kilometers, trip. So that's what I've done. Two three things are very important from touring angle. First is that how much is the comfort of a windshield in terms of the buffeting. So this is a stock windshield, I haven't changed it, and it is really good. The entire wind goes on top of your helmet, so I haven't really had any problem in that. Seat is quite wide, so again, from a seat perspective, I haven't really faced any challenges. The position of sitting is slightly, uh, slightly committed position, like this when you sit. So this position is slightly committed. After some time, you may need to stop for relaxing, stretching your shoulders and all. Typically, from my fitness level, I take about 150 kilometers stop, which is roughly every hour and a half or 2 hours kind of a stop, and which is good for me. So from touring perspective also, bike is very helpful, because tank is 20 liter, and that gives you close to 400 kilometers plus range. So you can keep on touring and there is no problem at all. Now I have installed some accessories on this bike, but covering from front to back, I've added these spools at the front, which is from GHG Motor Technique. They are important to raise the front wheel for any maintenance purpose, so very useful. Then I've added the radiator guards. There are two radiator guards. I've installed this Peak Design mobile mount. This is very important from navigation angle, because there is no Bluetooth connectivity. I've added this tank ring. On that, I can put SW Motec tank bag. Again, very useful accessory. Then there are these engine crash guards. I have put it over here, which is directly through the main chassis. Some people use it over here as well, but I don't like that position. This is good for me. And these are directly through the chassis bolt. Then in the similar way, I've added, like a front tire, I've added this GSG Motor Technique rear spool. These are important for a chain maintenance standpoint. And then there are these luggage hooks to put the tail back. There is this tank pad which avoids the rubbing of the front jacket to the petrol tank. And then I have done the entire body PPF for long life of the paint and usually to keep the color looking fresh. So these are the accessories which I have installed, and they are serving me quite well. So I've almost come to the end of the review, but as you must have noticed, I've only talked about all the good things. But there has to be something not so good in the bike, because no bike is really perfect, and this bike is no exception for that. And there are few things which definitely could be better, but 100% not a deal breaker. First thing is this exhaust. These are really big exhaust, and in Europe, Suzuki also gives acropovic exhausts as a stock. In India, they are not available. You have to get the factory exhaust only, and they are almost 6 to 7 kg per exhaust, bulkier than the acropovic exhaust. Needless to say, a better sound of acropovic, but those cost about 2 lakh rupees more. So I don't know at what point in time I will upgrade to those. But this is one definitely a piece which will help in reduction of the weight. The second problem is the road ground clearance. Now you don't expect these bikes to give you a very high ground clearance. This gives you about 150 millimeter of ground clearance. Although it might be a con, but not really a big way, because 7 out of 10 times this does not touch any speed breaker. It goes smoothly. 3 out of 10 times when the breakers are made really bad, it may touch it. There are two real cons which I actually feel that Suzuki should give. One is some kind of a Bluetooth interface to your mobile device, wherein you can see your rider dynamics at the end of the trip. Although the trip meter is there, which is analog and a TFT display, so Suzuki has kept a mixture of old and new design, and that has been kept really well. But I really feel a navigation thing, rider dynamics could really help, and that could be an added advantage. Keeping on the same tone, there is also no TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system, which again I feel is very important for this bike, especially on the tours wherein you really do not know how much is the tire pressure unless you keep on checking it every day on the fuel bunk, or you need to carry something along with you. So these are the few things which I feel could be improved. But beyond that, uh, there is nothing else which significantly needs any change. And that is one of the reason that 30 years the engine has remained the same. It's a bulletproof engine. Only things which have changed aesthetically. And Suzuki has really made already a perfect machine much better in the third edition or in the third generation of this bike. So yeah, I'm ending the review, and my final thoughts are this. This bike is absolutely fantastic. I'm loving every bit of it. No doubt at all whatsoever in my mind. I don't think this bike I will ever sell unless Suzuki comes with a Gen 4 Busa, which is significantly better than this. So if you have any doubt about reliability, about performance, about maintenance, about mileage, you should simply ditch it. If you can afford it, you should buy it. It's as simple as that, because the bike is marvelous. It will give you a very happy, safe, sound rides, provided you maintain her well and follow the speed limit and be a responsible rider. So that is it from my side, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video and visiting my channel. Please subscribe the channel if you like the video. I'll keep on putting I'll keep on putting more content, and see you until the next time. Thank you so much.